Hello, 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 sellers. Come on in, come on in. I'm Kathy, and I love to be selling. We're going to talk about such a great topic today, which is how smaller eBay sellers can make big money selling on eBay. So yes, 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 smaller sellers can make plenty of money selling on eBay. Because I hear sometimes people say, you have to have a certain amount of listings, you have to have 200 listings up or 300 listings up or X amount of listings up in order to make good money on eBay. And I know plenty of sellers that only have a few hundred listings up that are making thousands of dollars every month. So it's not always the number of listings up, it's what you're selling, it's the quality of listings. And I'm going to be talking about a super tip that can help you to stand out as an eBay seller, help your listings to stand out, and to make that conversion from people looking at your listing to clicking and buying your item, which is what's so important. So when you look at the traffic report in eBay, which is in Seller Hub, you'll see impressions, which is your items being seen. So it's being shown in search. That's your impressions. Then you have page views. Page views mean they have actually clicked and looked at your listing. So page views is very, very important. Yes, you want impressions. Yes, you want your item to be seen, but far more important than your impressions, because you can have a ton of impressions, very few page views, not good. You need to go and take a look at your listings and see what's going on. Page views is key. It means they're coming and they're looking. They are looking at the blue pen. They are looking at the pod case. They are looking. And then you see how much sold. So impressions, page views, sales. Okay. So as a smaller seller, we're nimble. And just to let you know, according to small business, and they do play around with these numbers, but technically, usually a small business is considered a business that is under $5 million gross income. So I think most of us, I'm raising my hand, fall into that category. And if you're not small, if you're a large seller over $5 million, congratulations. Good for you. I think that's wonderful news. But these tips are for smaller sellers, and particularly more people that might have a premium store, an anchor store, or my wonderful consumer sellers, which technically, just to let you know, you're a consumer seller if you're selling on eBay without a store, which means you're getting your 250 free listings every month. And let me tell you, with 250 free listings, you can make nice little tidy income on eBay. So again, it's not about how many listings are up, it's your sales. Because I have plenty of sellers come to me with thousands of listings, and they're not getting enough sales. Okay. So again, they can have thousands of listings, but what's happening is they're not getting the page views and they're not getting the sales. So then they have to backtrack, and I work with them and help them so that they do get page views and sales. So put on your shopper thinking cap. You hear the phrase often, think like a buyer. Okay. You've heard me say that. Those of you that follow me on my Facebook business page and watch my Facebook lives there, thank you. You've heard me say that. On my YouTube channel, Kathy Terrell, I love to be selling. You hear it in my YouTubes. I will talk about think like a buyer. And those of you that subscribe to my channel and watch my videos there, thank you. And you'll also hear it in my podcast, Kathy Terrell, I love to be selling, and I certainly appreciate you subscribing to it. It's on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora. So thank you so much for those of you who download my podcast. But think like a buyer. And the greatest way to think like a buyer is when you are shopping the internet. And for those of you that are eBay sellers, I really encourage you to shop on eBay. Look at items. Star them as a favorite or put them on your watch list. Save sellers. I mean, do things that buyers do, and then watch the email sequence that gets triggered from eBay. It's very, very helpful as a seller to know what eBay does for you, but also think like a buyer. And I realize us as sellers will probably shop differently than perhaps a typical buyer. But again, you are buying. So think about it when you're buying clothes on the internet, when you're buying home goods on the internet. I just bought some vitamins. When you buy vitamins on the internet, shoes, socks. I just bought some spring home decor. You go into the search engine, the search bar, and you type in what you're looking for. Okay. So think about that. So that means when you're creating your title and filling in your item specifics, it's important to look at all the options that are available to you and to use them, because that's all keywords and keyword phrases that your shoppers are using. So for instance, for me, I was looking for some floral home decor that will stand on a shelf. So I typed in flowers, and I wanted wood. So wooden flowers stand on shelf. And I also put in springtime flowers. I did a couple of searches, but think about it. So if I'm selling the wooden flowers, springtime, colorful, you think of all the different things. Perhaps they're made in France or they're made in Germany. Hi, Michael, good to see you. But again, type in all the keyword phrases. Are they made by a specific artist? Perhaps they're Peter Max wooden springtime flowers or Betsy Johnson wooden springtime flowers. So think of all the keywords that you would want to have in your title and the item specifics, because those are the two big areas where eBay's pulling for keywords. So you're searching for the item, again, the shirt, the flowers. I'm trying to think of stuff. Fireplace accessories. We're going into springtime. Easter basket. Excuse me. I didn't even think about Easter, Passover, Easter basket. Easter hat, Easter dress, Easter gloves, Easter purse, right? All the different things that people might be shopping for right now. And then you're going to get the search results. So then I get my search results of what I'm looking for. Then I sort price lowest to highest. I'm curious to see, well, I'm looking for the best value, right? So again, think about that. So people care about, it's going to be the title, your item specifics. I'm definitely looking at the pictures because I want to see what I'm buying. Okay. Let it be, even if it's a book, they want to see what they're buying because they want to see the binding, the dust jacket. Okay. So then I'm sorting by price. That lets me know the price matters. Title, item specific, the lead picture, which by the way is your hero image. And again, as a smaller seller, we can pay more attention to this. If you're not aware of it, people that are really large sellers that are listing hundreds and hundreds of items and sometimes thousands of items, they're using an importer. They're using some kind of service where everything's loaded into a file and then they're importing to eBay. And there's great importers, but there's details of things they might be missing that you and I, because we can go back and sort of look at our listings and look at things that might be getting a little low on the impressions and take a look at it and figure out why it might be low. We can tweak our images a bit. People that are putting up hundreds and thousands of listings, they're not going to be tweaking their images. And that's something that you and I can do. So you're looking at it. So people are looking at the image. They're looking at the title because of the item specifics, your item specifics. Then typically I'm going to look at the return policy because again, I'm not looking to return something, but I want to see that it's a 30-day return policy. I don't mind paying for return shipping. I'm not looking for free return shipping. If it is free, great. I definitely might take a look at that, but I definitely want to see that I'm going to be able to return it without a big hassle. So I'm looking at that and I might get down to whether I want it new, whether I'm okay with new without the box, whether it's okay if I'm buying it used, you're going to sort by condition. And then I look at the feedback. And this is what I wanted to bring up. And I think it's no coincidence that eBay's been focusing on feedback recently. For those of you that have been selling for a while on eBay, you know that feedback used to be part of the criteria for top rated seller. That is no longer the case. However, shoppers look at feedback. When I'm shopping on other platforms, it's not just eBay. I'm taking a look at the item, I'm taking a look at the price, and I look at the seller. I was buying something the other day. Oh, a puzzle for my grandson. And I was on another website and I was looking at the puzzles, and the puzzle was offered by several different sellers. And I looked at the price. The price was all like within $1 of each other. And then I looked at feedback. And one person was like 90, 91, and the other person was 98. And I went with 98. Okay. So people do look at feedback. So look at your feedback. Why? It lets you see how you're doing. It lets you know what's important to your shoppers. What do they talk about a lot? Do they talk about your packaging? Do they talk about your thank you notes if you put thank you notes in? Do they talk about the speed of your shipping, which lets you know that having a shorter handling time really matters to them? They might talk about how unusual the item is if you're somebody that sells really unusual collectibles. But this is what I wanted to point out with you with feedback, because again, eBay has been playing around with feedback in the past couple of years. And I actually pulled up this seller's feedback, and this is not somebody I know. Okay. And they have lovely feedback. So let me just show you this. So I want to show you this. So here this person has this, look at this. This buyer left 4 sentences of feedback. Extremely smooth transition, prompt, well-packaged shipping, and the Redskins license plate was exactly as described. Shishi Reed is a great seller, provided very good communication, and replied quickly to my questions. I highly recommend this eBay seller. 5 stars for sure. Thanks. This is a glowing review. If I'm shopping and I look at this review, I'm like, I'm totally going to shop with this person. Again, they've got the item I want. It's within a price range that I want, all that, because it lets me know this person communicates. It lets me know that they're a good, fast shipper. It's glowing. So what I would do as a seller, and remember, this is ways for us to stand out. This is ways for us to monetize ourselves as smaller sellers. Because a large seller, the only thing they're really going to pay any kind of attention to is if they get a negative. Okay. They're not going to be going over and taking a look at their feedback, or it's very unlikely they're going to. Okay. But us as smaller sellers, we can go and check our feedback every couple of days. It's certainly nice to read, right? When you read things like prompt shipping, item as described, I'm so happy, I love this seller. But look at this. This person left 4 sentences for this seller. So what I would do, hi, Melissa, good to see you. What I would do, and this is a way to stand out. This is a way also, it shows your heart and your mindset as a seller. I would respond. You can reply to feedback. We all know when we get a negative, and then having to deal with that. But how wonderful to respond to a positive feedback. And I'm not saying that you need to respond to every single feedback that's left. But once with something like this, and just say, we so appreciate their thoughtful response. It was a joy sending you the Redskins plate, or just hope that you enjoy it as much as we did. If it was something that you're selling personal possession, we love. And if you sell vintage license plates, or if you sell vintage Redskins, or let's say you sell vintage sports collectibles, I would totally say something like, thank you so much for your thoughtful feedback. I'm so great. Everything went so well. And it is our pleasure to offer wonderful vintage sports collectibles like this. Okay. And then what I recommend is that you put your first name. Okay. So Kathy, Bobby, Melissa, Michael, and just so you respond to it, and then your first name. I noticed, for instance, with eBay for Business, their Facebook page, which is the Facebook page for sellers, where we can message them with questions and situations, that when they respond, they always sign their first name. And I think it's a great way to personalize communication. Okay. So even if you are a solopreneur where it's just you, right? It's just Bobby, it's just Kathy, it's just Michael, it's just Linda. It's still nice to, when you finish your response, your first name. And why do this? One, that wonderful buyer that left that beautiful comment, they get to read a wonderful response from you, acknowledging their comment and the time and the effort that it took to write that, right? That's 4 sentences that this person left you. So that's a nice thing to acknowledge. The other thing is when a shopper comes in, so Diane comes in to look because she's looking at something else this wonderful seller sells. They see you, the seller, responding to the feedback. And it gives them an idea. I mean, they see the lovely comments, so they see that you're a lovely seller. But by reading your reply, it shows the courtesy. It shows you took the effort. And it shows them that you're a small business that really cares about their buyers, which you are. You are a small business that cares about your buyers. It's a way to display it. It's a way to show it, and it doesn't take a lot of time. You can leave a response. It takes less than 30 seconds. And again, what I'm encouraging is not every single one, but you go through. If somebody says they're a repeat customer, somebody says they looked at 4 or 5 and then decided to pick yours, you say, you know what? Thank you so much for selecting us. It really means the world to us. When they comment, wow, the fastest shipping I have ever gotten on anything I've ever purchased on eBay, you respond, thank you so much. We take great pleasure in wrapping safely and carefully and getting and shipping promptly to wonderful, wonderful buyers like you. It's acknowledging their comment and the time it took for them to leave it. And this is a way you're creating communication with your buyers. That buyer, are they then inclined to come back and shop with you again? I would be. It's like, oh my goodness, this person is the greatest. It's building relationship. So much of our work as sellers, yes, it's creating great listings. Yes, it's to get things sold. Yes, it's to package things safely. But it's one of the reasons people do social media. It's creating communication with our buyers, but we can do it in our feedback area in replying to the feedback. And it's a way to stand out because I do not see a lot of sellers doing it. So again, they come in, they go, wow, this seller takes the time to reply to feedback. Wow. And then they look at what the feedback is and they're reading this fantastic comment. So the eye of the buyer goes right to the feedback that has the comment on it, which is that lovely 4 sentences. And again, I'm doing it because it's a way for me as a smaller seller, right, to stand out to my shoppers, to stand out because very often people come in and read feedback. They're going to look at the percentage and then they come in to read it. Why? They want to see the comments that your previous buyers have said about you, but also to see if you leave any kind of response to the comments, because on some sites you'll see there are often times where the seller will respond. So this is a way to stand out because people are checking you out. They're comparing your item versus the other item. Especially if it's perhaps a higher ticket item, they're going to come in and go, how does this seller deal with people? How do they package? How do they ship? Yes, they have really great feedback. Let me come and see what some of their buyers have said. And now eBay's saying verified purchase, which I find really interesting. So again, it just lets me know that eBay's paying attention to feedback. So if eBay's paying attention to feedback, how can I leverage that? If eBay's paying attention to feedback, my suspicion, buyers look at feedback. I do. I'm always checking out feedback before I buy things because I want to know that it's going to be a nice, smooth, easy transaction, that if I have any kind of problem, that this seller is going to be very, very easy to deal with. If I have to return, it lets you know what they're like as a business person. And it helps to create the relationship. That's why responding shows who you are. It shows the kind of seller that you are. It lets people know who you are, what you value, and that you appreciate your buyers, that you're thrilled when they're happy, right? Which we are. And it helps you to stand out. It's always a thing of, no matter what you're selling, there's other people that are selling, if not the same thing, something similar. So responding to feedback to show who I am, and that I really appreciate my buyers, and acknowledging the lovely comments that they left is a great way to stand out to your shoppers. And I've got more tips for you to how to dominate eBay search, because that's what we're really, really interested in, is always how can I stand out in eBay search so that my items are searchable and found and will be found by the shoppers. Because again, you can source great things, you can create great listings, but then make sure that my item stands out in eBay search. And there's tips that you can do that will do just that. So I've created a free guide for you, and it is Dominate eBay Search and Win More Sales. It is my gift to you. Just hop over to my website, I Love to Be Selling, and grab that. You will love it. So respond to feedback periodically. Again, this doesn't need to take up tons and tons of time. A couple of minutes every other day, just scan it. And again, you don't need to respond to every single one. I would pick definitely repeat buyers. I would be going in. If they say, I shopped with this person before, they're wonderful. And the long ones like that, where they're really calling out things about the buying experience with you, those are wonderful ones to respond to. And again, it helps other buyers when they come in, their eye will go to that because you've responded. And grab these free tips, dominate eBay search, and win more sales. Again, to help your items stand out in search. So yes, you get the impressions, but then you get those page views, because the page views lead to the sales. You're welcome. Thank you, Melissa and Michael, for joining me live. I so appreciate it. I'm Kathy, and I love to be selling. Bye-bye, everybody.